at some point, I was going out to visit a buddy of mine, and we opened the door, and the front yard is covered with SWAT guys. And we're like, what's going on?
In your sister's room, that's where it started.
Hello, this is Paul.
This is Laura.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Alton.
We are Team Derringer.
And you are listening to Derringer Discoveries,
where we take you, the listener, on an adventure.
a music adventure.
Listeners, we're glad you're here with us because we are fortunate to have a talented and accomplished musician with us on this episode. From the bands Carolina Lyre and the Federal Empire, please join us in welcoming our special guest, singer-songwriter and performer, Chad Wolf.
What's up, you guys?
What's up?
Thanks for having me on a Sunday, gentlemen. This is lovely.
Thanks for
It's
joining
great
us.
to have you with us.
So my name is Chad Wolf. Our real name, full name is Chad Wolfenbarger. It was just whenever I signed into starting up in the music business as a songwriter, everybody would tell me that my last name, Wolfenbarger, was way too long for any of us to actually use.
I thought you were going to say you showed up in the music industry and there's another Chad Wolfenbarger.
Yeah, that would have been kind of cool, man. That would have been awesome. I would have really appreciated that because so many people always just gave me so much heat for that name as a kid. My dad.
It's a great name.
It's a solid name. My kid loves it. He's full on, growing up down south, that was just one of those things that was either going to make you stronger or just make you cower into a corner. People just ribbing you for that name. So me being a short dude, it helped me learn how. I had two sisters as being a kid, two older sisters, and both of them were just very strong Southern women. And so it taught me how to fight really, really fast. Crazy name.
They came and beat up the bullies for you, did they?
Well, no, they didn't do that for me.
Or did they just give you practice?
They give me practice. It was one of those things where it's my mom would make me go out. If somebody came home complaining about somebody giving me a hard time, she's like, go to their house and call them out. It's time for you to get into it. Even if they beat you up, at least you stood up for yourself.
Wow.
All right, let's...
I'm fighting private wars again. Just second thoughts of where and when. So peel me off the hook. That's something.
So, Chad, you've served as a frontman for two very successful bands that between them have more than 880,000 listeners on Spotify. And over the years, you've been working with some giants in the music industry. We're going to talk about all that in a few minutes.
Right on.
We're interested in just starting at the beginning and saying, how did this all begin? How'd you get your start? How'd you get Carolina Lyre off the ground?
You are listening to Derringer Discoveries.
With listeners in more than 30 countries.
Estella Dawn, recording and touring artist from California, listens to Derringer Discoveries.
Well, it's kind of one of those thoughts where it's going to sound like I'm going around my ass to get to my elbow with this. But really what ended up happening was I worked for the songwriter. I got an internship with this writer named Diane Warren. And so she's such a disciplined writer and disciplined worker that I got to see what it would take in order to kind of survive the music business. So she gave me my first real look at it.
Drinking your madness, pour me some beautiful.
She heard some of my music at one point while I was working for her. She's like, the only way this music would ever work is if you find somebody from Europe who kind of gets it. And then eventually I stopped working for her and started trying to get this Lyre project off the ground after another band that I had kind of failed. It was this band called Susie's Parlor. And that band had some really cool musicians in it. We were doing some really neat kind of jazz-ish kind of stuff, but way too ahead of its game. When that project failed, this producer who was going to sign Susie's Parlor, he had told me, he's like, look, I want to work with you directly because you're writing most of these songs, the ones that I like. Those are the songs that I want to work with still. he told me at the time, his name was Tim James. He told me, he's like, I don't want to work with you as an artist, like name, just your own personal name. I think it's smarter as a business decision to create a band name. That way you can kind of take different incarnations. And if this thing completely fails, you haven't failed with your own name. It's like, that's pretty sage advice, man.
Good advice. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. So he didn't like any of the names that I had for the project. So one day I was telling him this story. I told you this is really long-winded, but I told him this. I told him this story where I grew up. We lived in like a double wide trailer that we had converted into we built a roof on it. We had like an acre of land around us. But in that neighborhood, there was a particular set of like crazy characters. It was kind of a working class area, almost working poor to some degree. So there was always this element of wildness. We had just one kind of neighbor after another. We had some prostitutes that lived behind us at one point. There were people who had family members who would just tragically die, like in Southern fashion. Interesting neighborhood. But I told Tim one afternoon about this story about these two gentlemen who were in the Army, but when they had their time off, they would work on their Harleys. Both of them had two Harleys in this like single wide trailer, but they would take these Harley Davidson bikes and work on them in the house. And they would work on them and literally turn these things on in the house. But one night, these guys tended to drink and really turn it on when they drank. And I guess they started a little too early one day. And at some point, I was going out to visit a buddy of mine. And we opened the door, and the front yard is covered with SWAT guys. And we're like, what's going on? Literally, they are all targeting this trailer. Those guys had that motorcycle in their house. They had gotten angry with each other, and they started shooting at each other, and they basically blockaded each other in this house. But nobody knew what was going on. There was just a bunch of firing. All they could tell at the time was just these guys were literally shooting at each other with 12-gauge shotguns. I told the story to Tim. I told it to Tim, and he's like, and I told him some other story about something that happened in that neighborhood. And he was like, dude, you are the biggest liar I have ever met in my life. And I was like, no, dude, I'm telling you, it's the truth. And he's like, where are you from again? North Carolina, South? I was like, South Carolina. He's like, that's it, man. Whatever you do from this point forward, it has to be called Carolina Liar.
Nice.
That is awesome.
You are listening to Derringer Discoveries, a music adventure podcast.
This is Matt Saxton, singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist from East Sussex, UK, and I listen to Derringer Discoveries.
Don't you hope we can start again?
Yeah, so it just kind of played itself out. It didn't exist in any fashion before, and I was signed with Tim, and the people at his company at the time, they just didn't see where the project could go at that moment. And so I had taken a trip that summer. I'd met Max Martin through this like.
Well, let me stop you there. I hear there's an interesting story around how you met Max Martin.
Yeah, man. Again.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, with Max. Where that came from was I was going through my first divorce, and I had met through, now I still have to give credit to Lauren. She introduced me to this gentleman named Alexander Cronlund. She was working as an assistant in the Universal Publishing offices. And so she met this really amazing songwriter. His name's Alexander Cronlund. And he had this like compound at his house. He was putting together all these writers and everything. And I just liked hanging out at the house. Alex was this amazing like guy who could connect, it would be insane the people that Alex would connect with. Like you would be coming to the house and I don't know who it might be, like Alexander Skarsgård would be over at the house. Like
an actor, yeah.
All these like heavy, all the heaviest of heavies coming out of Sweden would be hanging out at this kind of rough part of town in Hollywood where Alex had this setup. And I loved like just being over there and with those dudes. It was never about me writing or anything like that. I just liked the energy and being around the Swedes. Once we were going through this divorce, I didn't have anywhere to go. And Alex was going back to Sweden for like the better part of the summer and probably all the way up until the first snow comes in Sweden. And he just hit me up. He's like, look, if you need a place to stay, I need somebody to watch my house and just kind of take care of utilities. Feel free to use the studio.
Wow.
He had like a working studio room. And so, and in that, one of his best friends he went to music school with was Max Martin. And that was just one of those things. They were just, those two guys were homies since they were kids. And then there's another gentleman, Klaus, who was in this band called the Teddy Bears. Another like mega Swedish band, and Klaus was just like an insanely great producer. But those guys all were connected through the music schools in Sweden, and so I met Max over at the house. Just literally all of us just sitting in the backyard of this like dumpy place in the middle of Hollywood. And Max is so cool, man. He would just come by with his family. And those guys not really kind of realizing that neighborhood was kind of gangy at the time. I remember somebody getting shot at one of the phone booths right in front of the house. So there was always a lot of weird stuff going on. But yeah, Max would come over and hang out at this house. And we'd all sit around and listen to music. And just it was just so casual. But never one of those things that was, it started off as like, we should work together. Because I was in no way, shape, or form on the level with most of those guys that were coming through that house. Like what Alex and Max and those dudes were doing was just such a level of like pop geniusness. I was just really writing like kind of blues-based stuff, like real free-form singer-songwriter things that had some rules, but not that Swedish thing. Really kind of what was the catalyst with the project with Carolina Lyre was Tobias Karlsson. He's the other writer and producer on that first record. He moved into that compound, and he and I just really hit it off. It was one of those things where he went on a business trip where he was writing for some pop band in London, and he came back, and I had taken my first trip to Sweden, and I'd never been out of the U.S. really, and Max had paid for me to go to see Sweden in the summer, just as a friend. And so he came back from this business trip. I had just come back from Sweden. It was a mind-blowing trip, how rad and just amazing it was. We were sitting in the backyard, and he's like, man, I just want to write some music, something that's just fun.
Here it comes in the morning. I'm just trying to forget.
And it doesn't need to fit into like the pop thing, or I need to like, this thing needs to make money or perform. I just want to write something that's kind of honest. And he just started playing the piano in the backyard, and I was like, oh, I know what this is, man. I had bought myself a little composition notebook on my first flight over to Sweden, and in the first lines of that notebook, I wrote to myself, I was like, I'm coming to terms, starting to learn, this ain't all it's cracked up to be.
I'm coming to terms, I'm starting to learn, this ain't all it's cracked up to be, 'cause I'm using you.
And when Tobias started playing, when Tobias started playing the piano part, I ran to the house and was like, I got it. I know what this is now. And so I started singing that over his, like the piano line that he had. And we just developed it out. And we got that song over to Max. And just as a thank you, that was my idea. I was like, dude, I got this song out of the trip. It was inspirational. I can't say thank you enough. It's a cool song.
It's the title track of the first album.
Yeah.
yeah. How cool.
Yeah. It was amazing, and sent it over to him. Well, I didn't send it. Well, Tobias and I sent the song back to Max, but he didn't get back to us. Alex actually sent the song back to Max, and when Max heard it, I had quit my job working with Tim and Antonina over at this Armada Records where I was signed. I'd quit my day job part working with them and was moving on. And Martin came in and was like, if you can get out of that deal without really making too much fuss that you're going to start working with me, I'll help you find a publishing deal. I'll help you find some way to like cover your monthly. And
nice.
That's amazing.
So he did. The dude really showed up. He did it. That house sitting for his buddy, Alexander Kronlund, into being like writing with Max Martin and getting to produce a record with Max Martin.
It is pretty amazing. And for our listeners who are not familiar with the name Max Martin, to give you an idea of what a giant this guy is, Max Martin has worked with Taylor Swift, Britney Spears, the Backstreet Boys, The Weeknd, Katy Perry, Ariana Grande, NSYNC, Kelly Clarkson, Pink, Maroon 5, Coldplay, and Justin Timberlake.
I am absolutely the lowest totem on that pole. I promise that. But man, what a gift, right? Holy crap.
That's awesome.
What a lucky dude.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal producer. Anybody that's around in the music industry or music fans will know that. And, to throw out some stats for our listeners, if they haven't heard of him before, As a producer, he's got 27 number one hits, more than Sir George Martin of the Beatles fame.
Yep.
As a songwriter, get this, as a songwriter, he has a mind-boggling 29 Billboard number ones, which is more than John Lennon, but not more than...
Not quite Paul. Not yet. Not
That's
quite.
right.
Yeah, that's right. Not Paul McCartney.
There you go. He's coming after Sir Paul. Yeah.
Paul knows, too. A buddy of mine told me the other day, he was like, well, Johan Carlson, who played keyboards while we were doing the live touring, Johan was somewhere, and he got to meet Paul McCartney for a brief moment. And he was just telling Paul like what he was working on and who he's working with. He's like, "Oh, you work with that Max guy. I know he's coming for me."
Yeah.
That's what he told me. Now I'm hoping I got every part of that right.
That's awesome.
'Cause that's exactly what he said, and it was like, oh man, how absolutely cool to be like just a small piece of something that big. It's so neat.
Well, listeners, just so you know, Carolina Liars' debut album, Coming to Terms, it dropped in May of 2008, right?
2008, yeah, man.
That's pretty awesome.
And it was co-produced by Max Martin and Tobias Karlsson.
Yeah, and you know what's even crazier? On that record, there's another young man, and it was one of the first records that he had worked on that level. It's at the time his name was Johann Schuster, but now he goes by Shellback.
Yeah. Whoa!
I heard you calling on the megaphone. You wanna see me all alone.
Yeah, so those two heavyweights are like all up on that first record, and they're on the second one too, that Wild Blessed Freedom. And I think, man, I keep going back to that record, and I know it's like one of those things where you're supposed to just let things go when they don't work, but that record, man, I go back to it now, and it's like, man, Johan and Max, Tobias, they all were onto something with this.
Yeah.
Like sonically where this thing is going and how it's there. It's like, maybe we were just ahead of the game too much.
Hi, my name is Alana Joy, and I'm the lead singer of alternative rock band Lost Youth from Cape Town, South Africa. I love listening to Derringer Discoveries, a music adventure podcast.
Frame ghost left perfume on pill.
Chad, two songs that I wanted to address. Show Me What I'm Looking For. Obviously, we have to mention that is a very strong single from the debut album, Coming to Terms, co-produced by Max Martin and Tobias. Is that how we decided to say it?
I say Tobias. Could be saying it wrong after all these years. I don't know.
Tobias Karlsson. Show Me What I'm Looking For achieved platinum status.
Show me what I'm looking for. Show me what I'm looking for.
I was just looking it up on Spotify, over 76 million streams, and it just keeps climbing, keep rising. But I'm Not Over also did very well. It went gold. And has, upwards of 22 million plus streams. Both of those songs have appeared in movies, television shows, commercials. Can you tell our listeners maybe something memorable that they can grab onto where these songs have appeared?
Man, with I'm Not Over, that was a really cool one, because what we would do with the band when we weren't playing like regular tour shows, if we were home, we would go to ad agencies and we would go to the movie lots and we would meet directly with the music supervisors for projects, or play to the music supervision team on like the Fox lot or any Universal, any of those real Sony lot. And it was kind of the advantage of being in Los Angeles. So you can just like wheel up. Like, and if you can play, that was the thing, is like that band was incredible. Like it was a phenomenal group of players that we had together in there. And so we went to the Fox lot, I think it was at the time, and we played for the whole staff. And this gentleman, Mike Noblock, he came up to us after we played, and he's like, "You guys have just been giving me the worst time lately." And I was like, "We have? Like, we just got home. Like, we just got a couple of days off. What do you mean we're giving you a hard time?" And he's like, "No, we put your song up against Wild Horses, and it was a U2 song for the end of What Happens in Vegas movie." So they were like, "We've been putting your song up against theirs, and yours just kind of keeps coming out on top." And I was like, "That sounds kind of fluffy, man. I think the other songs are probably a bit more expensive." No. But he's like, "No, man, it's maybe that's the thing. The other songs are a bit too expensive for us." And he's like, "Well, since you're here, can we do a handshake deal and you let me use the song for this movie, and I'll get you some more stuff whenever I can give you some more money on something?" And I was like, "Are you kidding? Like, is this what we're doing?" He's like, "Can you clear the song while we're here?" And I was like, of course, yeah. The guys, the whole camp knows that it's good. If I think that something's legit, then all I have to do is give you a handshake, and we did. And we got to do like be a part of this movie that still goes on. Like people will find it now, and they're just like, dude, that's your song in the scene.
Nice.
And I was like, yeah. They let us go to the premiere. Cool. It was awesome. Really one of those like, okay, this is a real Hollywood moment. This kind of that craziness that really does come to pass.
Chad, we had heard back in 2019 that you had developed a friendship and a partnership with YouTuber David Dobrik.
Yeah, man.
I understand he used to use your song, Show Me What I'm Looking For, in his short-form videos.
Yeah.
He would use it when he would surprise friends and family and fans with brand new cars.
Please show me what I'm looking for.
Not only was that song a great hit for you and for him, that his co-host on that podcast that he had actually booked you as a surprise guest on his podcast and brought you out to shock him.
Yep.
And then it turned around and he shocked you by giving you a brand new, restored, original VW bus, right?
Yeah, man.
Was it the microbus?
Yeah, vintage bus.
It was one of those, it was one of the old school micros, man. It was dope. It was an amazing thing. Like it was... And I knew too, man, it was one of those things like I knew this guy wasn't going to just let me get away with giving him like the surprise because Brett and Todd, they brought me in on that. They're like, yeah, Brett, they were working with him and knew him pretty well. And I was like, dude, if there's ever any way I can just say thank you to that guy, please let me just meet him in person. And they're like, we want to try and surprise him at some point. Would you be open to it? I was like, any day of the week, I'm in.
We'll tell you when to take it off. You're gonna know when to take off the blindfold.
Bro, I'm shaking.
Wait,
oh my God.
Should have done better than this.
Bro, this is so cool.
Please, I'll be strong.
Someone give me car keys to give away a car.
Show me what I'm
looking for. Oh my God. Okay,
the
so
significance.
I mean I use that song. I've used your song maybe like 6 or 7 or 8 times for like emotional moments in videos. I don't know. I just associate that song with like I think that's just like the best song to use under any emotional crying moment. Anybody's getting a gift or a surprise. The song's incredible, and the song does. They help the videos out so much.
They called one day and like, look, our podcast is doing pretty well. Why don't you just come on and let's just talk? And so we got together and did that. Their podcast was rad. David had just come back from shooting something in like South Africa or something. And like he is home right now, like finishing up some edits and stuff. Let's sneak in. Let's just get over there while he's doing this. And we did it all on the fly. Like it was really one of those things. I was glad I'd been rehearsing. So I wasn't it's like stiff clamming out whenever I played him the song. But we slipped in. And then he called my partner Sam one day and told her that he was going to be giving a car away to one of his friends. But him and Sam and a whole crew had worked it out that they were going to get us this bus. But here's the thing. Like Sam had asked me, because they were all working, she's like, what's your dream car? And I was like, what? Not for me, but I know that Wyatt, my son, he loves those Volkswagen mini buses. We were just kind of going through this fate. Again, I was trying to teach my son this whole idea of manifestation. I kept telling him, because we would go to these car shows, and at the time I was really not making any sort of normal income for a while. And we'd go to these car shows, and he's like, man, I would love to get one of those things. And I was like, okay, here's how you get it. And I was trying to teach him how to do this so he could have it later in life. But I kept telling him, I was like, just think about getting in the car of your dreams and act like it's just something casual. Like you almost take it for granted. You're just going to get in. It's just like one of those things you do. And then they got that car and gave it to me. And it was one of those things. It was like, man, I'm taking, like, we're going to go surprise the kid with this. And it ended up like just being another one of those moments where that just got, perpetuated. But David, him doing that, man, just unleashed all kinds of crazy good stuff for us. Him doing that gave another significant, like another million singles were sold because of that. And then
wow,
what's funny
That's
is
amazing.
like, yeah, insane. But what ended up happening, it was almost a million. But then Kelly, she covered the song on her show through karaoke, and that pushed the whole thing over the top. And they gave us another million singles off of that thing that were real sold singles, not just like played through things or streamed.
Right.
But yeah, man, crazy.
That's amazing.
David, just like those guys, like they changed the projection of years because of that.
Chad, we were a little freaked out at being compared to a podcast that gave you a Volkswagen bus for appearing on it. And, you know, we have a much smaller operating budget here at Derringer Discoveries. So what I do have here, we could not get you we got something for you.
What?
We could not get you a bus, but I did the best I could. I've got you a bus pass here.
Hey, dude, that works.
For the DC transit system. Anytime you're in DC, you got a free bus pass.
I am in with that. That's magic, man.
You better ask him if there's anything loaded on that card.
That's not what that card comes with.
There is upwards of $5 on that card.
Hey, man, that could change my life. You never know. That could be the one thing that locks down a whole new deal, man. That might
beats
be the
walking, right?
You got to forgive us. We got a much smaller operating budget here.
Are you
at Derringer
kidding, dude?
Discovery.
This is magic. Like, honestly, I was just talking to some guys. Like, I love the fact that it's all working out. Like, we're doing these shows that are coming up this summer. We're re-releasing Show Me What I'm Looking For, re-releasing Coming to Terms. Awesome. And there's all these little things that are like slowly starting to all work together. And it's like, no, this is great because this, like, everything matters. Like, all of this stuff starts to like compile and it starts to get a little bit of a snowball effect. Like, this is just part of it, and it's a big part. Every little piece is what makes this whole thing big, so it all adds up, man. I am grateful, honestly. This is fun.
We know you've been manifesting getting on Derringer Discoveries.
Dude, you never know.
That's right.
Oh,
well,
man.
Rob mentioned that he got you a $5 pass.
I got you a bus pass.
Hey,
this is, you know...
but that's not the only benefit we get.
Oh.
A couple of years ago, we started something. It was kind of on the fly with one of our episodes. The guest wanted to be an honorary Derringer, and that started it all. And since then, we have made a number of people honorary Derringers. A couple of them are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Way.
But as of tonight, you are now, Chad, in addition to being Chad Wolf, anytime you want to call yourself Chad Derringer,
yes,
you can do so because you are now an honorary Derringer.
Hell
like
yeah.
we like to say, once a Derringer, always a Derringer.
I love it.
Yeah.
Come on, gentlemen. Woo!
And there was much rejoicing.
You might want to use that name when you're riding the bus.
Yeah,
when
dude.
you're riding around on the bus, yeah.
Derringer has a lot of respect in my life. I do respect the Derringer. That is serious, man.
Chad, while you're here on the show, do you have any shout-outs that you'd like to give to friends, family, or fans?
Man, you know, I just want to give a shout-out to Sting. He's always been a big supporter. No, I've never met Sting.
I was going to say Gordon Summers.
Really?
With all the people that you've met, it wouldn't have surprised me. You got to give Wyatt a shout-out.
Wyatt, yeah, it's Wyatt and my girl Sam up here. But, yeah, that's like... No, that's a tribute. The Sting thing, the kid that played drums in the original Carolina Liar setup, that was the funniest thing he would do. We'd be in these like serious interviews or something, and he would always close out anytime that we were working together. He's like, yes, I would like to dedicate this to Sting. And it was always just the funniest, like, most random thing. It's like, how did you come up with that, dude? That is hilarious. Like...
That's pretty random.
It sounds believable.
Yeah.
You've been mentioning a lot of people that are well-known names. It didn't strike me as being out of the ordinary. Yeah.
No, it's like I keep dropping. Something keeps dropping out of my pocket, man. You got to call me on that. You dropped something, dude. It's on the floor. Pick that up.
Hey, look, it's Sting.
Yeah, it stinks.
That's pretty cool.
Well, Rob, give us our legal wrap up here.
Okay, here we go, guys. This has been Derringer Discoveries, a music adventure podcast. Song snippets were used in this episode to aid in the discussion, critique, and analysis of the songs.
Listeners, our special guest, Chad Wolf, and his bands Carolina Liar and the Federal Empire can be found on all major streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple, and many others. We will include Chad Wolf's contact information in the show notes for this episode.
And speaking of contacting Chad, where can our listeners find you on social media?
I think it's the Carolina Liar on Instagram, and we've got Carolina Liar Music.co, I think, right now, or .com. We actually have a website. Like, I haven't talked about websites in years, and this is like regular Facebook, that world. There's a TikTok account. I think it's under Carolina Liar. So yeah, you guys reach out to me. Tell me what's going on.
Absolutely.
Listeners, as Paul mentioned, we'll put Chad's contact information as well as links to his music and socials in the show notes for this episode. You can follow Derringer Discoveries on social media as well. We're DerringerDiscoveries.com on Blue Sky, Derringer Discoveries on Facebook, and Derringer Pod on Instagram, X, and Threads. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss another episode. And after you've done that, head over to our website, DerringerDiscoveries.com, to sign up for our free newsletter.
And while you're there, you can check out the show notes for this episode, where we'll post additional information about Carolina Liar and the other artists we've discussed in this episode.
Until next time, I'm Alton Derringer.
I'm Paul Derringer.
I'm Rob Derringer.
And I'm Chad Derringer.
Yes, excellent.
Also known as Chad Wolf.
Chad Wolf, now an honorary Derringer.
In your sister's room. That's where it started. In your sister's room.
Chad, Rob said he was nervous.
Well, yeah, right. I've been looking for this for a while. This is great. I think this is the first origin story we've had that involves gunfire and SWAT teams.
I just forgot, dude. We got a single that's coming out on the 26th of June too. So
what's it called? This
one, it is called. Let me make sure I got this thing right, because I'm just kind of blanking in my head today.
That's a long title.
That's it.
Rob, did I say free?
You did.
It is free.
You did, absolutely.
Excellent.
It's always free.
Always free.
Yeah. I totally lost my place in the outline, but we'll just roll with it.
Yeah, I got lost too, Rob, but now I'm back on.
I think Alton's just freewheeling it here. Okay,
all right, then maybe we just move on. Alton, you could.
I took you guys all over the map on that thing, man. Sorry.
Laura Derringer is missing, but she'll be with us again next time.
We think.